Hello, I'm Nathan from FTC Team 4717, and in this EV3 tutorial, I will show you how to navigate the brick and connect to the EV3. So to get started, make sure you've built the Riley rover with the color and gyro sensors attached using the rechargeable battery pack. If you haven't, click the link in the description to find the instructions to build the Riley rover. Now I will go over the exterior of the robot. Starting at the front, there is a color sensor. We will start programming with this sensor later on, but as the name suggests, it senses colors and light values. Here are the wheels, and they are attached to large motors. This is how the robot will drive. Moving back, there is a ball caster, which acts as a third wheel that can move in any direction. Up here is the gyro sensor, which we will use later on to keep the robot moving in a perfectly straight path. Now to the most important part, and the brains of the entire robot, the brick. You can see that there are 6 buttons and a screen on the top. On this side of the brick, there are wire ports labeled with numbers, and on this side, ports labeled with letters. Sensors are plugged into numbers, while motors are plugged into letters. Below the numbered ports on this side, there is a small circular hole. This is where you can plug the robot in to recharge using this cable. If this hole isn't here, you may not be using the rechargeable battery pack. On the side with the lettered wire ports, there is a slot labeled PC. You can attach the download cable here to download your project when programming. On this side, there is a USB and an SD card slot. The SD card slot can be used to increase the size and amount of space on the robot, but you will probably never need to use it. Now make sure that the left motor is plugged into the B port, and the right motor is plugged into the C port so that it looks like this. Then make sure the gyro sensor is plugged into port 2 and the color sensor is plugged into port 3. Ensuring that the wires are connected to the right ports is important to having our programs run correctly when we start programming. Now we can turn the robot on. Press and hold this middle button until the light turns on. If the lights don't turn on, you may need to charge your robot. After waiting for it to start up, look at the screen on the brick. The first screen is recent programs. This screen may be empty if you haven't downloaded or run anything recently. If you press the right button, it will take you to a screen with your project folders. When you create a new project and download it to your robot, they will show up here. The next page over will have 4 icons on it, but only 2 are important. The first is called Port View, and if you press the middle button to go into that, there is a page where we can see the values of the motors and the sensors. At the bottom, there are the gyro and color sensors, and at the top, there are 2 large motors. If you move over to the gyro sensor, you'll see a number that represents the angle in degrees. If you move over to the color sensor, you'll see a value that represents the reflected light intensity, where the higher the number, the closer to white it is. If you move up to the motors, you can see the number of degrees that you have rotated the wheel. If you want to switch from degrees to rotations, just press the middle button and move down to motor rotations. You can see that the number of rotations is much lower than the number of degrees. Port view is very helpful if you want to know how many rotations to program the robot to go, or if you want to check to make sure that your sensors are working properly. Now press this corner button to exit port view. Now we will move down to motor control. Motor control allows you to spin the motors manually without having to make a program. Once you enter motor control, you will see a diagram of the buttons pointing to 2 letters, as well as the same 2 letters on the bottom right side. Since our motors are plugged into B and C, we want the arrows to point to B and C. Press the middle button to switch the arrows to point to B and C. Now you can see that the left and right buttons control port B, which is this motor, and the up and down buttons control port C, which is this motor. If you press the left button, this motor will spin one way, and if you press the right button, it'll spin the other way. The same thing will happen with up and down, but it will control the other motor. The next page is the settings page, and you can see that there are several different settings that you can change here. The main ones that we will focus on are Bluetooth and brick name. Go down to Bluetooth, and ensure that visibility and Bluetooth are checked, and iPhone/iPad/iPod is not checked. Now press the middle button to confirm your changes. The next setting is brick name. If you go into that, you can see the current name of your robot. You can change the name using this keypad here, and then when you're done, press the check mark to confirm your changes. You can check the name up here. Now we will move on to how to connect and download programs to your robot. You can either connect by plugging the USB end of this cable into your computer and the smaller end into the robot, or you can connect with Bluetooth. To connect with Bluetooth, first make sure your robot is on. Then open your EV3 software. When the software is open, go up to this plus sign and click on it to open a new project. When the project is open, go down to this box in the corner and select the checkbox under the Bluetooth symbol. If your robot name didn't show up, just press this refresh button to cycle through again. When your robot is connected with Bluetooth, the row should turn blue. Now we can try downloading a program. Go down to the screen section and drag this block with a steering wheel icon up to the play button. Now press the green arrow on the play button. When you press it, the robot should move forward. And with that, you've learned how to navigate the robot and connect via Bluetooth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.